A lot to do. We're moving on this afternoon. We've been talking a lot about teachers, about administrators, about staff, and about a lot of different things. But everything, of course, comes back to being focused on the students. And now it's time to hear from some students, and we're excited about this. It's amazing, our future, when you see these students that you have touched day in and day out. And the students you're going to see today, many of you either have had or may have in class in the years ahead. Some of you have already had at least one of the students. And so we want to kind of start talking about the target audience. On TV, we talk about the target audience all the time. We talk about the people we're trying to reach. When I go on television, they say, don't talk about the weather in Europe. Nobody cares. They want to know what the weather's going to be like in Weslaco. Your target audience is in the valley. Talk about valley weather. And so that's our target audience, the valley. Same thing right now. We've been talking about the students, but now it's time to hear from that target audience. So we've got some speakers who are going to come today and kind of share their story. And the first speaker represents a section of your population that a lot of valley schools have. Raised in a colonia, her peer pressure wasn't always the most positive. Migrating up north to work in harsh conditions, leaving school early, arriving late in the fall, didn't make matters any better at all. But she has a fantastic story, and I want you to hear it from her. So please help me welcome a 2013 graduate of Weslaco High School. Please welcome Miss Perla Sanchez.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night.
Wow. Good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor to be here again this year and to have given a second chance. Almost a year ago today, I was getting off a bus coming in from Michigan and did my best to prepare a speech. I scribbled my thoughts on a single sheet of paper as the bus bounced along Highway 281 just south of Alfurias. If you remember, I was nervous and scared and didn't do very well. So this second chance means a lot to me. I know you teachers and school employees are all about second chances. I bet not one single student out there at some way along their way, they weren't given a second chance by you. I'm a product of second chances and proud of it. During my 8th grade year, I was featured in a documentary called The Cosecha, The Harvest, that followed the life of 3 migrant students. Let me share a clip with you.
¿No has hablado con Pab?
No.
Háblale. ¿No hablaste con Jerry también?
Jerry no tiene picos.
Ya no tiene. ¿Y a Meme no hablaste con Meme?
No he hablado con él.
Pues hablado con él, papá. ¿Qué hablas?
Ya había hablado allá en Indiana.
¿Y qué te dijo?
Que todavía no había asadón, que a lo mejor rápido a ver.
Tenemos que leer una carta a Obama. Yo no miro ningún progreso en los Estados Unidos, no miro que va peor.
I was an angry girl. It was easier to be angry than it was to accept my migrant experience. I felt like the work we did for the farmers was at least worth a clean and comfortable living. And I brought that anger to school. I was never disrespectful to my teachers, but I was trouble and in fights all the time. I'm not proud to say this anymore, but I was one that expressed my anger through fighting. I was ghetto, and my attitude was, this is my bubble, stay out. The word ghetto may not mean the same thing to you that it does to me. To me, it means to be cool, gangster, to not take smack from anyone. That's ghetto in my hood, in my barrio, in my colonia. During the last few years, things started changing. I started meeting new people. People saw the documentary that I was in, and they wanted to help. I started meeting people that were just like me. And I saw that good things happened to them. So I wanted the same for me. Along the way, I lost most of my camaradas. We had originally bonded because we had the same kind of anger. They made me feel like I belonged. But some of my priorities changed. Because my priorities changed, my friends at the time would say things like, "Eres toda creída, ruca. That means, girl, you think you're all that." They used to call me Perla from the VLO. That's the Barrio Olivares where I live in. I miss some of those friends. But I don't miss that I had to lose them in order to find a different purpose in my life. The new people that I've met these last few years believed in me. When Miss Ray would come knocking on my door, I would tell them, "Dile que no estoy." But she never gave up. And I started going to all the programs the migrant department in Westlake ISD offered. I now say that I'm a successful product of workshop, presenters, confidence building techniques, and field trips to universities, and of those people who believed in me. I am one that allowed all that to sink in. And it all started with a simple cell phone message. This is what you'd hear if you had called me. "Hey, this is Perla, and if you're not important, don't bother leaving a message." I had to change my message. There is such a great lesson in a simple act of changing my voice message on my cell phone. That's what people who called me heard. I didn't make them feel welcome. It was arrogant of me to suggest that my time was more valuable than whatever they had to say to me. It was me, and I didn't want to be that mean, angry person anymore. People that knew me before would ask me, "Where did that anger go? Where did you put it?" I wouldn't exchange any of my past for anything. But my answer is easy. I replaced it. I changed my message. This past summer, I worked in Washington, D.C. as an intern for the Association of Farm Worker Opportunity Program. My greatest moment was to be in the same room with President Barack Obama. Me, a migrant student, a girl from the Colonia, from Westlake, sharing the same room with the president. While I was there, I was asked to serve as a migrant student panelist. The most common question we were asked on the panels of migrant students were, "How can we help other students like you? How can we make sure that all the programs we offer migrant students have the same impact they did on you?" Mentoring was always my answer. I would say that when people helped me, it made me feel accountable. I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want them to think that their time and their effort were just taken for granted. Being on a panel of high school students and asked what I thought about nationwide issues made me feel good. I'm 19 years old, a migrant student, and I was being heard. My experience mattered, and I was helping others. And it all started with the documentary. I was giving a responsibility to all the people that saw it to be successful despite our conditions. When I spoke in the panel discussions, I actually obligated myself to move beyond my migrant lifestyle. When I worked at my internship in DC, I had to be careful what I placed on my Facebook timeline. These people were paying me well to work and learn there. So I would tell my friends, "Don't tag me in these crazy pictures." Because these people are watching, and what you post says a lot about you. I don't want to be remembered as that angry, rebellious, immature child anymore. I changed my message. I've been accepted into Western Michigan University. I leave Westlake in 2 days. It's rather ironic that I'll be receiving my formal education in the same state where I think I developed the anger and resentment that helped me survive my childhood. Michigan won't see me in their farms and fields anymore. They'll see me in their classrooms and the facilities of higher learning. Last year, I gave a speech at a migrant conference here in the same room. You may remember the words I started my speech with. Con estas manos, with these hands, I have picked blueberries, pickles, and tomatoes. These hands of mine have been scuffed by leaves and branches, dried from the harsh sun, and days of endless work. But these same hands of mine will also get me through college and into the profession of my dreams. I'm proud to say that the only picking these hands will be doing from now on is from the aisle, the vegetable aisle at the grocery store. And I owe it all to the people of my school and home. To all of you, I represent a large population of this community. Many of us come from colonias, and we may not all be ghetto like I was. But being poor and deprived of certain basic needs is something a lot of us have in common. It means we're not always ready to come into your classrooms and learn. We bring a lot of our struggles into your classrooms. And I'm here to tell you today that if it weren't for you, for your persistence, for your concerns, for each of us, and your devotion of teaching and inspiring even ghetto people like me, I wouldn't be here today. I love my story. I love that I won't be able to tell my story without including you. I love that I'm a product of second chances. Mistakes are good because you can learn from them. And I've learned that it's okay to trip as long as you're already running. Second chances to me are a gift from heaven. There are a lot of us migrants that have dreams that can only be fulfilled by you and your second chances. We don't want to be trapped forever in this cycle of hard labor and little pay. And even though my childhood experience could have easily set me up for failure, you didn't let that happen to me. I'm going to be the first college graduate to come from my familia because of you. When I got into my last fight, my sophomore year, my teacher, Mr. Coy, was very disappointed in me. And every time I got in trouble, I hurt people that believed in me. So as this year, students begin entering your classrooms, do know that the confidence you have in us means so much. As I leave Westlaco in 2 days, remember this. You can take the girl out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of the girl. And if you're still offended by the word ghetto, let me put it in this way. You can take the girl out of Westlaco, but you can't take what Westlaco put into me. What this school district did for me. I am proud of where I come from. You may think that ghetto means poor, but I've never went without a roof over my head, clothes, and good cooking, as you can tell. Put it out there. I remember last year's Convocation keynote speaker, Ms. Consuelo Kickbush. I think of her story and how she called herself ghetto too. So I guess she and I are homegirls? And look at her now. So there's hope for me too. Have a great year, and thank you all from the bottom of my heart for getting me to this amazing point in my life. Thank you.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. that tonight's gonna be a good night.
You know, I'm not sure at Western Michigan they know where Weslaco is yet. But I have a feeling they will sometime in the next 4 years. Perla's parents are right up front. Stand up so we can acknowledge your presence today, too. Thank you. Thank you to you for all of you've done to get her to where she is today and where she's going to be in the future. What a room full of people. This is the village, Doctor. This is the village. Wow, amazing.